And it's true. I'm going to talk a little bit about Virtual Stage and the project that we're working on. My name is Heidi Svane, and I work with Lifestyle and Design Cluster. So we are this organization that primarily works with what I typically call sandbox project. Any kind of company that is looking towards new technology, new ways of innovating, or new ways of thinking about sustainability within the lifestyle industry, they normally come to our house, and then we help them create research and development projects. We help them find the funding for it, and especially we help them find the specialists. And that means that often sometimes we have to know what's going on. So when I came across digital fashion some years ago, I started to keep an eye on it. And then this year I decided, why don't I try to purchase this digital fashion piece? And on the picture you see me wearing my new digital metal looking hoodie. The process was that I reached out, I purchased the piece of digital fashion on Rollbau's web shop. I emailed them the picture you see on the screen, and then in return I got my digital hoodie on me. And typically me, coming from the physical world, I reach out to Rollbau and I say, I don't understand. Am I supposed to buy this now? Or, you know, what am I gonna do with this? So if you want to listen in on my very blonde and maybe a little bit stupid questions to Rollbau, trying to understand what is digital fashion, there is a YouTube link that you can look into later on. But what I realized is that what I see and what I hear right now is two parallel movements. The digital hoodie being a whole new type of consumer, a whole new piece of fabric and fashion selling, and a whole new market arising. So not something that every type of fashion brand will be involved in. So what are every type of fashion brand working today gonna think and work with when we talk about virtual technologies? And if you are not a specialist within this area, I just brought this slide to kind of say, what are we talking about when we're talking about virtual technologies? This is some of the technologies that we mapped out that involves virtual technology. And of course, talking about virtual technologies, this is often the primary goal, meaning I put this on and I'm immersed in another space. I'm very exclusive and access to one specific place where I can't be disrupted or interrupted by other distractions around me. All the content that are living in these headsets, that could be 360 videos, you know, the recording where we get it all the way around us. It could be 3D models, but we're also talking about augmented projection, something that we're seeing moving from the augmented reality, you know, how we see Snapchat filters on ourselves, but moving outside of the phone and into spaces, projecting on buildings, on other, you know, on office spaces, often very much happening in the project and industry of new buildings, but also moving into the design scene and lighting industry. So these are just some of the technologies that we will touch on. First of all, I want to go somewhere else, because talking about digital fashion can be a new thing, but often it's also inspiration to listen, what are other industries doing? So we started out Virtual Stage being a project funded by Industriens Fund with the ambition to question how can we export more Danish design when all the trade shows and all the sales meetings are restricted right now. So for 6 months, we have the trial and error to go through an ideation workshop, design a virtual stage, try to launch it, and measure the effect and learnings from this experiment. We just today, and that's why I'm like so excited, today we just shipped 7 of these headsets in an extremely nice sensory box where you can put on the headset and you can smell the wood, from Takt's chairs or Carl Hansen and Sons chairs, or you can feel the textile from Kvadrat's rugs. They were shipped out to South Korea, America, Switzerland, Norway, everywhere in the world, to extremely important influencers for the Danish design industry, and especially in terms of textile, furniture, and interior brands. Here you're seeing 7 brave brands who said, all right, we have no clue what you're talking about. We're working a little bit with 3D models because it's part of production in furniture, but in terms of using it for sales, branding, export, immature, we don't know what we're doing. We decided on 3 different technologies that we wanted to expose these brands for. Web AR being what we know from Snapchat, a filter or a possibility for us to see a 3D photorealistic piece of product in our own surrounding through our chair or through our phone. Virtual reality, the headsets with experience of the 3D models, but also 360 videos, and virtual studio, and I'll come back to that, but that is creating the illusion of us being somewhere else, but we're just here in Copenhagen shooting an amazing video or pack shots or whatever we want to do. So what did we actually do? Well, it is still, and I know that now we're probably talking at another level, 3D models are still extremely difficult, extremely demanding. And here is also my curiosity. Are we still going to work towards creating 3D models that are photorealistic, or do we need to do something else? But this is a step lamp, which is pretty good looking. It's a 3D model, so it's not a picture you're looking at. It came from a prototype phase where we started out. You see the few pictures as we developed and matured the models and worked with it. And if you wanna, you know, if your brain is starting to wander, you can pick up your phone again and go to the website called virtualstage.dk and push Web AR in the menu. And then you can start decorating your house or wherever you're sitting. There's about 30 different 3D models that you can experience in there. Right here, we're looking at a steps lamp. I won't, you know, you can't send the bill to me, but take a deep dive on amazing Danish furniture. But as we moved along and experienced with the 3D models, we also realized, all right, this will be used for something specific in the customer journey, but we are challenged by the fact that a 3D model of a Kvadrat rug, which cost about, I would say, 6,000 to 8,000 euros, up to or down to a IKEA rug, which might cost 200 euros. How do we make it look exclusive? How do we make a difference in the 3D model? And is that what we're supposed to do? Or are we supposed to create other things in the digital space? Then we moved on to the 3D recording. This is still a trouble. You know, you have that little ball. There's about 9 different cameras in there, and Visabi, who was is our technical partner, still had to spend time talking the brands through that this is going to be recording all the way through. So you can't like stand behind the camera. You have to design the space all the way around to really create that immersive experience of a person actually standing there. But it also gave you the opportunity, like we are now, talking to the camera, like we're there. We're just right next to each other. So you could tell the camera, hey, look behind you and you will see this and this. And you would actually have somebody with the headset being able to look behind them and create and get that experience as if they were there. And then we actually built the first virtual studio in Denmark ever seen. This is a technology that is primarily used in the film industry. Normally you would use a green screen. However, the green screen also has limitations, and it's another type of technology. But here you're looking at a LED screen. And And right here, we're shooting with Quick. So it's not a video that's running on the LED screen. It's actually built 3D models. And this is where we started to play with the thought of, why does it have to be the kitchen we're looking at? Why couldn't it be something psychedelic that really took us far away and into another space? Why are we again and again, when we're meeting new technologies, moving what we know exactly one-to-one into the digital space? And this really challenged the companies. We had several ideation workshops really trying to say, what do we have to do? And as you see, some of them pushed the boundaries, others didn't do too much. But the first video in the middle, where you have Alessandro sitting with his lamps on the side from a step, they wanted to illustrate their sustainability story and how long-lasting their product is. So the room behind Alessandro is a 3D model, and it's built so we could actually do a time lapse of a 24-hour day into a 2-minute video. Or with Tact below, they put all their furniture into the room and made them kind of do different stuff and kind of tilt over or whatever, playing with our minds of, what does it look like? Is that like a infinite room of Tact furniture? And on the other side, Lene Bjerre down to the far right, saying, hey, we're selling most of our products in France, in England. We need to communicate that kind of culture. And there's nowhere we can go in Denmark and shoot that kind of video. So why don't we just build it in Copenhagen? And you can do the pack shots, you can do the video, and you should go into the website and see how the shades, how the ceiling or whatever atmosphere the video creates, because the camera and the screen is connected. So whenever we're moving, we can make the room look and give that illustration of a photorealistic scenery. All of that we put into these headsets, and when you put on the headset, it's actually kind of like if you were visiting a trade show. You come into this very sensory, nice looking architectural setup. This is a prototype of it. I wasn't able to take a photo and bring it out to you. You will have to come visit me here in Copenhagen to see the exact experience. But right now we're shipping these glasses out, or these headsets out to different buyers. And when they put on the headset, they get this speak about that they're in a space where they can visit with Danish design. And then they can step into each of these brand spaces or these platforms, and they can visit with Kvadrat, and they can see the 3D models. They can look at them up close. They can almost touch, because they're standing with the sensory box that we send with the headsets. But there's so many possibilities here, and we are just getting started. I can't wait for us to do a follow-up in maybe January or February, where I can tell you we increased export, we see a conversion rate, we see people being faster at making a decision. And this was some of the reflections that we've already gotten from the brands. All of the brands have gotten the headsets to bring back to their companies, and they have done trainings with all of the different staff. They've asked customer service, hey, how do you feel about this? Where can you see this being used in your everyday life? What are you missing from the experience? So actually, we already see the brands being able to debate and discuss and take this into a strategic conversation about, what do we need to put into our technology roadmap for the future? And this is what happens, and I think is crucial to SMEs. They need to see before they believe. So it's difficult for them to listen sometimes to these inspirational talks and then convert it into, what should I do myself? I'm a little bit different, or I don't fit into the boxes that you described. And this is where I find it extremely interesting that we're able to, in Denmark, to do these demonstration projects where brands can come in and test it for themselves. They can create these small sandbox projects and see where they can take it next. So before we go into fashion and I just round this talk off, I just want you to bring out your phone again, because I'm curious to see, where are you thinking that digital fashion has barriers? So all of these extremely great talks, and I love Eva and Kata and Alex. I'm gonna, we're gonna do more stuff together, because you're taking this somewhere new, and especially taking it somewhere where we're thinking, is this a whole new industry? Is this a mashup of gaming and fashion happening? But try to see, what barriers do you actually think digital fashion experience? And if you want to, please feel free to follow up in the chat about your answer, or if you have other questions to come along with that. And I see investment, of course, jumping out. And for sure, we need more incubators. We need more people to look into this and try it out. And that's why I'm super excited to also share with you that next year, Lifestyle and Design Cluster will open up an incubation for the fashion and furniture industry in Copenhagen. So we hope that this will put an extra pressure on the industry, but also give access for more startups to actually access the scene and show what they got. Best practice example, I'm so onto that. We need to keep showing that way of how to leapfrog this, because we can't do the linear development, all of us. We can't just try out. We need somebody to actually accelerate. So before we round this conversation up, I just want to share a few things that we're going to be testing this coming next month, because now we tried it on furniture, and just between us, that's the easy part. A chair stands still, a kitchen does not move. So what do we do when the fashion starts to move and we need to come across that? So we used actually Alex and Kata to kind of inspire our technical partner for them to say, all right, where can we take this technology? And we presented these 6 different types of technologies that we could test for 3 different fashion brands. And I don't know, maybe, from the wording, you can test it, you can figure it out yourself, but just to give a few hints, AR filter, we see the white t-shirt. When you use the phone, it becomes interactive. 360 videos, we already covered that. The virtual production, having that LED screen, what do we do with it? Do we have to do the photo shoot there and put sand on the floor and create the beach? Or do we go somewhere psychedelic and create something that doesn't look like the real world? And then, of course, we have the whole 3D models in textiles, but also the avatar situation. So this can be this sort of cliffhanger, because we just started. We have the last ideation workshop today with Genny, and following them, we work with Gutske, which is a very great and historic Danish brand. They actually have 16 different female fashion brands or clothing brands, and they know that these tools will be important for them in the future. So they're testing out on their sales channels what it can do. Genny is very on the psychedelic trip. They have seen a growth in their export due to a very experimental digital platform that they actually launched this year. And Minimum is kind of on the same path. They've done a heavy investment in digital tools for their sales staff this year. So they know that VR headsets will be part of their sales kit in the future. And we're going to be testing with them what to do and how to interact. So I hope that we can bring it back maybe February next year, and I can tell you that everybody just raised the bar and extremely excited about showcasing this. And just to, you know, make a fact, this won't be me looking at statistic on social media. We actually have a very professional team from CBS monitoring all through the process and making sure that we observe all the little details. And one of the things that they're questioning right now is that we can see these technologies making an impact, but we haven't figured out how to raise and how to handle the question of touch and feel. What are we going to do with that when we are looking into the digital future? So this was my presentation for now.